Video, I'm going to show you step by step how to create a simple animated GIF using your name. Let's first open up the timeline where we'll be creating this. Down at the bottom you'll see the timeline button. If you just click that, it will open it up. There's nothing there yet because we don't have any layers. So let's create a new document. Let's choose from the web presets and use the default 800 by 600 smallest one. Let's name this GIF. Now, first we'll design the background. I've chosen a blue and black color. I'm going to just use a radial gradient to just have something in the background that looks a little nicer than just a white background. Next, what we want to do is create a text layer. What we're going to do is on each layer have a separate letter of our name. There's a lot of different methods and tricks you can use to create GIFs, but I think this will give you some of the basics on how to do it. So I'll be doing Mr. Fajoli, you should do your own name, and on each time I use the tool, it will create a new layer. You can align the letters later. If you want to align them straight like I'm going to do, you're going to want to turn on Smart Guides. If you go under View, Show, make sure Smart Guides is checked. What this is going to do is allow Photoshop to help you automatically align everything. So if I take the Move tool, I'm going to start moving things around, but you'll notice that it'll only move whatever letter you have selected. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the M layer and move that first. Click on the R. Move this down. But you see, you might waste a lot of time going back and forth to the layers panel. It might get annoying. Another trick I like to use is to right click on an area and it'll show you the different layers that you have, and you can choose from right there and then move it. So I'll right click, you'll see the F is there. Now I can change that. So just work to arrange your letters however you want it to look before we actually create the animation. It's really important that you do most of the design work and layout before you start animating it. It just makes it a lot easier for you. So this is lined up nicely, but it's a little too far to the left. So I'm going to shift click to select all of my letters and move them over, and we'll put it right about there. Okay. Now at the bottom you see we now have a button that says Create Video Timeline. Go ahead and press that. I like to expand this out. You'll see we have each layer on its own video track. So to have each letter come up one at a time, we're going to have to manipulate these purple pieces of layer down here. What these represent is how much time that layer is appearing on the screen. Now they are upside down since I went from M to all the way to I. You'll see at the bottom. So we want to start with that. M is going to be the first letter that we see. So we want that to pop up. Let's say I'm going to go in 15 frame increments. Each second is 15 frames. So 15 is half a second. So I want to drag this up to where it says start 15 frames. That means with everything blank, that M will pop up first. Then the R will have to go 15 seconds after that, or sorry, 15 frames after that. So that'll start at 1 second. And let's continue doing this in 15 frame increments, or half second increments. It can be very tedious and tricky to get GIFs right, but when you do, they're a lot of fun to make. And you can expand this as wide as you need before actually watching it. Now if you run out of space, you can scroll to the right and you can get more time here by expanding these things out. So let's bring these out to, let's end at 6 seconds. So now we can move these all. And what's nice in the timeline mode is that as you move these around, you'll feel them snap to the ends of each other so that they match. Okay. Now what we can do is scrub through this with this blue playhead and this red line to see what happens as time moves on. Each letter will pop up one at a time, but the others remain there because this purple layer is still here. What would happen if we didn't extend these out? That letter would be lost after that time. So if you want things to disappear, that's what you would do. Trim it from the opposite side. So this staircase that we have here, we can now play. Well, let me close this so we can see it. And if we play that, you'll see each letter pop up one at a time. Now let's look at some other things that we have down here. To play your GIF, you can either hit the space bar or you can press the play button right here. Also, at the bottom where I'm scrolling left and right, there's a zoom. If you move to the left, it zooms out so that you can see more, but everything's smaller. To the right, it zooms in. This is for if you want very fast cuts, more like the phone animation that I created. On the left side is each layer separately. And you also have down here at the bottom left is the way to convert it to frame animation. I recommend doing that ahead of time, not after you've already done it this way. Another fun thing about the timeline feature is there is an audio track at the bottom. So if you go online and download a sound effect, in which I can give you many websites that are good for sound effects, or music, you can add that into your GIF. Another variation of the timeline, if you don't want things stacked on top of each other and things are just moving around, you can drag this and combine them onto the same layer, as you see here. What this does is put things next to each other so that they play one after the other, as you can see. That's helpful in some instances. In this particular example, it's not. This is the way we want it for here. Once you have a GIF that is created, what you have to do is a save for the web so that you can export it and actually put it online. So let's go to File, Save for Web. And at the top, we have presets. We want to use a GIF. Let's try GIF 128 dither. You'll see down at the bottom right also there's some information about the animation, looping options. A lot of times we see GIFs online, they play over and over and over again. That's where you have to change it. It's defaulted to once. That means it'll play and then stop. But if I change this to forever, it'll loop over and over and over again. And we should be able to preview it here as well. Before we export, we can see what it looks like. And you notice how it loops, and it'll do that forever. Now, we want to save it. And then name it, save it wherever you have saved your other projects.